Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the BF-110C6 yet again, just seeing
Oh
how
my
this
gosh.
plane is behaving, and I can tell you that I definitely do enjoy this aircraft and it is proving to be quite a joy to fly. That massive 30mm cannon is just a great tool to be able to get used to flying with some of the heavier cannons you encounter later in your gameplay. For example, the BF-109Z as well as the 262 have the 108 model 30mm cannon, and while I don't believe it behaves exactly the same as this cannon, it does have very laggy shot patterns, which means that you are going to have to learn how to pull lead and be very careful with your shots to ensure that they are making contact. But when it comes to a tier 4 aircraft, a heavy fighter like this one, it's just a lot of fun to be able to take a large cannon shell, get that shot to make contact, and just watch it, boom, clip away all but maybe 6 hit points off of an airplane and just absolutely decimate it. I really did enjoy when I was grinding the 110 line. I thought that they were quite a bit of fun. It's a very interesting looking airframe as well. The dual vertical stabilizers on off of the horizontal stabilizer is not a unique design, but one that did not survive the end of World War II, with the exception of a few transport aircraft. But it is very iconic of the era. Like I said in the first video with this airframe, it does do very well against other heavies, as well as going after bomber aircraft. As long as you can get that cannon on target for an enduring period of time, it can do enough work to be able to take out those targets effectively. Here we're starting to get into a stall situation, but fortunately the aircraft looks like it is coming down and going after my bomber instead of me, so I can get that cannon back on target and try to eliminate this 110 Bravo. Maintaining control of the military base is going to be paramount, especially in a match like this where there's only one offensive base. So with it being located in the middle, it's going to be a very heavy location for fighting right here in the center. The nice thing is that since I'm going to be operating at higher altitude in this airframe, I will have a much lower amount of aircraft that can possibly engage me, since a lot of the turn and burns can't get up here, and I won't have to contend with the ground attackers unless I decide that I'm going to go down there and fight with them. In addition to the 30mm cannon, this aircraft also has 4 792 machine guns, which are the light machine guns. But since this is a premium aircraft, I am running a full universal ammo load on it, which means that it does have a much higher chance to start aircraft on fire, which is great for being able to take care of those final little hairs of damage that are left on the enemy aircraft after that 30 makes contact. And you can see that 30 made 2 solid contacts on that F2A, and it traded quite a bit of its health away. I'm using this opportunity while we're waiting for this base to cool down for the enemy to be able to capture it, to get back up to altitudes. That way I have some potential energy to play with, and I can also control what engagements I'm getting into. If I stayed lower, then they would have the airspeed to dive down on me, and I would be the one at the disadvantage. Using that heavy cannon shell, I do what this aircraft is meant to do, and I take out that bomber. We do have a Hurricane Mark 1 coming up to meet us. We'll get this cannon on target and try to kill him on this pass. Not the easiest thing to do. We did put a little bit of damage into him, but what I really want to go after is this ground attacker. I'm using my airspeed from the dive as well as my boost to be able to catch up to the airframe, and now I'm letting my cannon do its work, and it is absolutely wrecking that BSH-2. Again, we made our boom run. After our boom comes the zooms, so we're going to use our momentum to carry us back up to altitude. in order for us to line up for another possible attack run. You'll see that this is almost exactly what we did when we started coming back in to defend this area after it was initially captured. Almost the exact same location, the same approach, and the same general altitude that we're already back up to. Now I see that this multi-role fighter is coming towards my aircraft. I am going to line up on him because he is going to be the highest threat for me, since I was going to possibly put him at my stern if I continued to climb. But I believe that he is actually AFK. I've recently stopped getting as irritated with AFK players because there is actually something wrong with the game right now where if you try to enter into a match and then you realize, oh, I didn't have the right crew in there, or maybe I shouldn't play this match right now, or whatever is going on, and you back out of matchmaking, every once in a while the game will still throw your aircraft into the match even though you've exited, you're in the hangar, and possibly started another battle with even the same airframe possibly, and then you come back from that battle to find out that you had a 0 loss with 0 experience points gained whatsoever because your aircraft just flew continuously in a straight line and absolutely got destroyed by the enemy, and you possibly have a hefty repair fee waiting for you, which is unfortunate. So backing out of matchmaking, do it at your own risk, but be aware that you could possibly be an AFK pilot. And for those of you who get really upset about the AFK pilots, if you have ever experienced this, you'd probably be a little bit more forgiving as well, because that's just a terrible situation to have, and I would really like it if Wargaming was able to fix it, because it's happened to me on more than one occasion where I had to back out of a match because one of my kids came downstairs after they went to bed and needed something, or my wife needed me to help her with something, and then I had to walk away from the computer, so I exited matchmaking, and apparently the game decided that I was going to play a match anyways, even though I wasn't logged in, so something to bear in mind. We are beelining straight towards the middle. Squall line is back up. I would like to take out this ground attacker before he finishes taking my rocket base here, and with the massive range of over 3,300, I think it's 3,400 feet for the cannon, I was able to essentially snipe him out and take that aircraft out very quickly. Trying to line this shot up, it's not easy, but oh, how satisfying it is when it finally does make contact and absolutely obliterates a target. There's another solid contact, there's another, and you can tell by the massive amounts of health that just chunk away off of that aircraft. I really want to get this next shot in here, but we're starting to stall. I do have an aircraft behind me. There, saving my ally, even though it is just a bot defender. I'm now using my tail gunner to try and decrease the amount of incoming damage on my aircraft, and you'll note that I'm keeping it in the center in order for me to get that ring to go down to that more focused circle, which causes more damage and increased critical damage. Now I'm going to keep pressing on, and I'm going after this isolated target that is in front of me. I know that there's 2 bots chasing him off into the distance. This is that AFK player again. Now this cannon can fire out to 4,000 meters and still make contact, so I just chuck one shell out there and finish him off. It wasn't going to help the bots at all, so I didn't have much of an issue with stealing that kill. And now that I've got my separation from this Kai, is that a 43? I was going to say 49. I'm glad I looked at it again. I needed to get that separation anyways in order to come back on that guy, so I took out the AFK guy as I was making my run. Alright, and that's pretty much it. And, oh, look at that comment. What a winner. Alright, so not too many things irritate me in video games, but it does irritate me a bit when people are mean to each other, rude I should say. We are a very small community inside of World of Warplanes. Unfortunately, World of Warplanes had a very rough start, and it isn't until recently that they've really been able to reinvigorate this game and make it into what it is today, the game that I enjoy playing. And there's not many of us here that are either stuck it out through the long haul or have come back to see what this game has to offer. So I don't think it's wise, and I don't think it's a good idea for us as a community to be aggressively rude and mean to one another. There's no real need for it. I saw World of Tanks kind of turn into a bit of a cesspool at one point, and I'm not sure it ever 100% turned away from that, but it did start a culture of a lot of people popping into that game and saying, be the change you want to see in your community. And I really like that turn of phrase, and I think it's 100% applicable throughout all of online gaming experience. We like to hide behind the anonymity of our computer screens, but at the same time, we want people to value our opinions through forum posts and discussions and putting up videos. And if we lose sight of the fact that you are still a human being, the person on the other side of the screen is still a human being, then we're going to lose what it is that we want this forum to be, whether that be video games or it be discussion pages or it just be blogs that people write up. The fact of the matter is the internet is meant to be a communication tool to link people together. Unfortunately, some people use that for negativity and for hate, and I, for one, will not allow myself to behave like that. I may have when I was younger, and I don't think that it is what we should let it become for our children and the next generation. So, with that said, I don't like it when people make disgusting hate speech comments in video games and in chat systems inside of what equates to being a very small community in a video game. So I am done with my public speech, and let's talk about the game. So 14 kills, not too bad. The thing about this 30 millimeter cannon, this anti-tank cannon, is that it takes a little bit to get it on target, but if you're patient and you try and figure out where those shots are, this is a great platform to learn how to use those big heavy guns that have a really odd lead time because they kind of loft through the air. They're more of a what's the word I'm looking for? They're a instantaneous damage weapon, but getting that instantaneous damage isn't instantaneous. You have to get the shot to connect, and that takes skill, time, and practice. And this is a great platform to do it in because you're at tier 4, and that makes this plane a lot of fun to fly. And I do enjoy the BF-110 series, so this was a joy for me to play, and I only played this plane a few times now, and that was just a great example of how dangerous this thing can be with a massive range of 3,443 feet on this cannon, and it can reach out and touch people at 4,300 feet. That is massive. That is absolutely massive. You saw it towards the end there. I nabbed that kill from a couple of bots that were chasing that other plane down, and I launched on them at like 4,000 feet, and I managed to get that last little bit of health off of them. And yes, it's going to do less damage at that range, but it's still a decent chunk of damage, and that is just absolutely fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. Again, guys, as always, if you liked the video, go ahead, hit that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and if you didn't like it, let me know why in the comment section below, and we'll try to make things better for you in the future. As always, I'll catch you on the next one.